Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of Whiskey Wheels Wounds. As always, I'm Shawn.
Hola, ¿cómo está?
We bien.
Sí,
Mm.
I am Steve.
Me, llam-
Senor,
me
senor,
llamo Steve.
senor, Steve. We're,
What is,
we're bilingual.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm bilingual. I can speak English and Army. So, I mean,
I got you.
what's the featured whiskey this week?
Featured whiskey this week is 1350 Distillery out of Colorado. When we went to Colorado Springs last year, one things we like to do out on our many trips is find veteran-owned distilleries so that we can put it on this podcast and also, just help out veteran distilleries out there. So, yeah, 1350 Distillery, Colorado Springs, is the Pikes Peak Avenue. Um, they have many different forms of spirit. They have bourbon, they have rum, which we have depicted here. The rum is one of the it comes in a nice wooden case. This is number 4 from Georgia, and it had all 50 states that they did rum for. So yeah, so Guardian bourbon, right, from 1350 Distillery is this week's
Yeah, I was
featured.
reading the back of the label here.
Uh-huh.
They get their name 1350 because of the 13 stripes and 50
Yep.
stars. That's pretty cool.
Uh-huh.
And then they pledge 10% of their profits to veteran and local charities. And you can go to their website, 1350distilling.com, to be able to see the charities that they provide all their money to.
Absolutely.
That's pretty cool.
And another cool feature that you pointed out before we went on air, they represent all 5 branches now.
Because the Blue Jacket is a Navy bottle.
Yep. And
The
then
Guardian is a Space Force bottle.
Space Force. So Space Force getting some love, which I guess that'd be 6, right?
Well,
6
yeah, because then you got the Coast Guard.
Yeah. So 6 branches, excuse me. But yeah, so they give love to all the branches. So yeah, 1350 Distillery out of Colorado Springs, Colorado. Thank you.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Nice name. I dig the name.
I mean, it's nice when it has a little story. I'm not all about backstories, but
Yeah. I sometimes sometimes you see distilleries, it's like, Bob Smith Distilling, but somebody that, puts, because think about it,
and nobody in the building named Bob or Smith.
1350 though, like that should have been an easy name that anybody could have come up with.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're the ones that did it,
Right.
it just sometimes simple is better.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this week we're going to talk about an organization that's very near and dear to our hearts.
It is.
We try really hard when we're doing our episodes to not name the said organization that we're part of because we feel very strongly about not pimping our organization to help us.
Mm-hmm.
But we talked and we really want to get said organization, get them some love. Talk about who they are, what we do as an organization, how far we reach out. Because when it boils down to it, the motto of our organization is Vets Helping Vets,
Mm-hmm.
and that's like a huge chunk of what we do. Is we're always trying to do things to help veterans, and oh, by the way, we get to ride motorcycles in the process.
Yeah.
So this week we're going to talk about the Combat Vets Motorcycle Association. They're in all 50 states and in Europe.
Yep.
They've been around like 23, 24 years. Originally started by 45 guys that got together. They were looking for something, and we call them the original 45. They get a lot of reverence in our organization.
Yeah, and the early attempt to start this organization did not have its. I mean, it had its ups and downs.
Yeah.
Some scamming going on, but the original 45 hung true, and laid the foundation for what is now a multi-million-dollar charitable organization.
Yeah, and that's the big thing. You know, this whole organization, it's got, like we said, the motto is vets helping vets. But there's two prongs to this thing. One, it gives us that camaraderie and brotherhood that we had when we served
Mm-hmm.
on a motorcycle, which is the shit. But two, everything we do is pushed towards helping veteran organizations or veteran charities, raising money for them. Like that's the mission statement. That's the what we do.
Yep.
How we do it is we fundraise, we hold events, we ride motorcycles. We try to go to every event we can so that we're giving them money so that they can further the cause of their individual charity. There's a handful of chapters here in the state of Ohio, which is where we live.
Almost two handfuls.
No, yeah, it is actually almost two
Yeah.
handfuls. And of those, each one of those chapters has their own specific charities they give to.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like we're all beholden to the same charities. Every chapter gets to pick charities that they support.
Yep.
And so, two handfuls of chapters, that's a lot of money that's getting sent to veterans organizations around the state of Ohio to help vets.
Yep. Over 600 members in the state of Ohio, 9 chapters all throughout the state. And, there's some parameters, some guidelines of where chapters can be and how close to proximity to each other they can be. There's guidelines with that, 100 miles, not as the crow flies, but, well, I guess it would be as the crow flies.
Yeah.
But 100 miles has to separate each chapter. So in a small state like ours, landmass size state, 9 chapters is pretty good, because there's some bigger states out there that don't have the amount of chapters we do.
And I think Ohio's got a really big veteran population too.
It does. It's over 800,000 veterans, and I know that well. And that was back when I was the state rep for Mission 22.
Another good organization.
Yeah, but yeah, over 800,000, and that number, it fluctuates every day. 22 veterans a day kill themselves, and the older generation of veterans, they're
Yeah,
they're going to Valhalla every day. So
World War II vets are few and far between
right.
anymore.
So that number fluctuates. And
speaking of the veteran population for Ohio, though,
mm-hmm.
I was reading something the other day, and it was the every state with the number of Medal of Honor recipients that they have.
Mm-hmm.
Ohio is number 4.
Yeah, we are. Yes,
the only 3 states ahead of us: Pennsylvania, New York, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
All 13 OG colonies.
Right.
That huge impacts in this, and a lot of theirs came from the Civil War.
Right.
So,
yeah. So we're going to try to get through this without recruiting.
yes,
because that is one of the policies that we have to adhere by as members of the Combat Veterans Motorcycle Association. We're not out here to recruit.
No.
We're not out here to try to get you to join. If you
see us and you're interested, come talk to us.
Yeah.
Other than that, that's it.
And that's the extent of our recruiting. We put our patch on, and we get out in the community, and we do good things. And we're not a motorcycle club. We are an association. There is a distinction. Hellhound, what is that? Well, it's there is no probational period for us. The probational period that we require you to take is the years of service you spent in combat.
Correct.
That's it. The only requirement the only requirements required to be a member of the Combat Vets Motorcycle Association is serve in combat and have a motorcycle of 500 cc's or greater, and be in good moral character. Now we have support members,
Correct.
who are just not just. I stand corrected, but they are veterans
Correct.
who did not have the opportunity to serve in combat, and we have auxiliary members who are normally they are the spouses of veterans, and some of those are veterans themselves, right? Brandy being one of them.
Wendy.
Yeah, and Wendy. We have several, but to this podcast, everyone should be aware of Brandy.
Oh yeah.
We speak on her. And your dad, we speak on him a lot. He is a support member.
Yep.
So some veterans just served at a time. We wasn't at war.
Or they went where they were needed, and that wasn't the combat zone.
Yes, and there are definitely veterans out there who are vain enough to think they are better because they served in combat. I don't believe we're two of those people.
No. And that's really not a vibe that's present in our chapter either.
No, and we, it's great because we have guys, we have Vietnam veterans in our chapter. We have Cold War veterans in our chapter. Desert Storm, yes, we give them guys shit.
The 100-hour war guys.
We give them guys shit. And then we have Iraq and Afghanistan, Djibouti, Africa. So yeah, I mean, what makes us different from MCs? Again, we don't. There's no probational period. There's no. You don't have to wash our bikes because we don't particularly like our bikes washed. So
no. Dirt holds mine together.
Yeah, there's no, hey, get me a beer. There's none of that bullshit. There's now, full disclosure, there's some things that MCs do that I like.
Yes.
Right? Like you're gonna fucking participate.
Yeah.
In
chapter mandatories.
Yes. In the CVMA,
it's an all volunteer.
It's like being a member of the VFW or the American Legion. And our chapter is like any other chapter or any other veteran organization out there. You have those people that do nothing. They join, they get a patch, and I think at the moment they join is the least hectic their life was. Like, hey, you know what? Yeah, riding a motorcycle, that sounds great. And then every day after they patch in, it's like, oh, I got this going on and that going on. So in this organization, we have people that do nothing. We have people that do some things. We have people that do most things, and we have people that do everything. Go on every ride, go to every event, and you have that in every organization. And I think you need that in every organization. You need everybody in those tiers to do their part. And
and it fluctuates too.
Yeah.
As life happens, over the course, some people have to fluctuate in between groups because stuff happens.
And the job as the commander, which I am no longer. Duke is our commander now, doing a great job, by the way. The job of the commander is to, talk real with those people that do nothing and say, hey, listen, what are we doing? You know what I mean? Like, hey, Joe, Snuffy, we as a chapter have to pay the state for every member we have. You are not bringing in the amount of revenue we have to pay the state to have you in the chapter. So what are we doing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And every year, we have people drop off and things of that nature. But the goal is, not to speak for Duke, but I think the goal is to have everyone do everything.
Right. It's a lofty goal.
And that ain't, the chances of that happen are,
Because, well, I mean, we have, we're lucky, me, you, Duke, and Sarge, we're part of what we call TUG, the unemployed guys.
right.
We can, hey, fuck it. The weather's supposed to be nice today. You guys want to go for a ride today? And, it's a Thursday in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
And, usually Nova's at school or,
Right.
at somebody else's, you could just jump on, we go have fun for a couple hours and
Right.
be done for the day,
Yeah.
And a lot of people can't do that, whether they've got little ones or they've got work or other obligations. So, we're lucky that we have the ability to do almost everything because our lives are significantly less chaotic.
Right.
We're busy, but we're busy in a way that we can manage our schedule.
Right.
A lot of folks, they don't have that opportunity or they're not at that point in their life yet, which, hey, it is what it is. I think the biggest thing, the biggest reason we look for 100% participation is one, our party travels
Yeah. Well,
really well. And two, we want everybody to participate because it'll maximize our mission of giving the money to the charities that we support.
most certainly. And
Like that's the big thing.
and I 100% agree with that. My takeaway from it is if one of those veterans that are in the do nothing group, if you did a little bit and you got a little bit of reprieve from your mental health that I get, you're going to feel better.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And you don't know what you don't know. And when I first joined the CVMA, our XO at the time, All Out, we've had him on this podcast. He told me, he's like, you go on one long ride, you'll want to go on them all. And he was absolutely right.
Oh yeah,
And
100%.
and because we do a national event every year for the CVMA. It moves throughout the regions of the country.
Those are last year we went to Colorado. We talked about that trip.
Yep.
This year we went to Minnesota via Canada. We
Yep.
talked about that trip.
Yep.
Those are our national runs.
Those are our national runs, and they're in different regions of the country. Even though Minnesota and Colorado are relatively close in proximity, but next year we're going to Georgia.
Year after that, we're going to New York.
Yeah, year after that, we're going to New York. So,
it's the great state of Nebraska.
Right, can't wait. But it changes every year. So if you plan accordingly, like many of us do, that's our vacation.
Yep.
That's our summer trip. We get to get on a motorcycle and put thousands of miles in, which is always good. You get to hang out with great people, always good. And it just the benefit, the physical benefits, not great. The mental benefits, and we've always said, we ride for our heads, not our bodies,
Right.
Because our bodies, it takes a toll, and not because we ride Harleys and the motherfucker shakes all the time, because we put a whole lot of miles
in a short amount of time.
On those bikes, and that's the great thing. The great thing is that former soldiers of yours or former commanders and subordinates and superiors that you've served with is in a chapter somewhere. They're out there. We run into, a guy I serve with every year at nationals. Like that's our reunion. I'm trying to get him to come down and meet us in Ohio, and we ride to Georgia together next year because he's out in South Dakota. So yeah, I mean, that's the great thing. We were standing down in Kentucky, and the guy rolled. I'm just standing in the parking lot. The guy rolls by us and says, "That's Big Vic." And I look at Christian, I'm like, he must know me. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, I mean, and then you stand there and talk to guys that you haven't seen since '03.
Yeah.
It's man, that's a good takeaway from it's not the meetings, I'll tell you that.
No.
It's never the meetings. The meetings are what they are. It sounds as bad as it is. You know what I mean? It's 2 hours of your life you'll never get back. But it's
It's the before and the after the meetings that you
yeah, but those things are necessary. Votes go, elections go on, and all that stuff. So it's a necessary evil. But it's like Left Hook would say all the time. It's somebody fucked up my vacation with a 2-hour meeting. You know what I mean? And yeah, but it's not. You know, the 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 structure is not the same as an MC.
No.
The leadership does not have the same stroke as an MC. And a lot of people see back patches and they automatically assume what's going into what goes into that. And
The guy at the Canadian border, what he thought was coming his way.
yeah, a lot of people. Now, some people join the CVMA thinking they're going to get bar hopping and they're going to get the MC experience. They're going to be able to talk out the side of their head to fucking females in this organization, and there's not going to be consequences. No, we treat our women with respect, and you're not going to talk out the side of your head. Now, both of us have been guilty of making females cry in our organization. And, and that is, I think, that stems from
unintentional.
100%.
100% unintentional. I don't want people to think that we go out trying to. I found out today that I made somebody cry, and it was like a fucking gut punch. It hurt me that I even remotely caused someone that kind of grief.
And I think what it stems from is, when you rib people like we do, in the military, there's a, in the military, when you're, the more you jab someone, the more you love them.
Right.
There's that understanding that
it's the dark sense of humor that binds us together.
Right. But the other person has to have the same sense of humor, and if they don't, then
and sometimes you take that for granted because of
right
our group.
And you take the closeness that we have, amongst us.
We have a relatively small chapter in regards to a lot of other chapters,
right?
And our chapter, we feel, is a very close, tight-knit family.
Yes.
And that's what we refer to ourselves as,
Yeah.
is actual family. And we treat all of our aux members are treated as every full member's sister.
Right.
That's how we look at it. It's, we use the term brother to describe each other.
Right.
And we use
brother.
There are those that way. You know how I am about that word.
Right.
Like, I'm real particular about it.
Okay.
But these aux members are truly our sisters, and we try to treat them as such.
Yes.
But like any stupid brother, you're going to say something dumb, and not realize that what you said was dumb. Well, you know what you said was dumb, but you didn't realize it was going to hurt your sister the way it does.
Right.
And then when that happens, you feel like an absolute 350-pound bag of dog shit, which is what I've had to feel like this morning.
Yeah. So,
which, by the way, I know you will listen to this.
Yeah.
And I am truly and deeply sorry for making you feel any way that you would have felt based on what I said. And you and I, by the time this comes out, will have hopefully had a conversation about that. But just know, I realize I'm an asshole and I did not mean to hurt your feelings.
Yeah. And Guinness helps. Just saying. It's helped me in the past.
Yeah. Especially when you throw them out in the woods.
I mean, yeah.
But yeah, so because we have such a tight family, that's another reason why our party travels really well.
And our Ox members are not property. No. They are thinking, speaking.
So being a student of the MC world,
right?
Growing up the way my dad brought me up and stuff, there are the traditional protocol.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm gonna say. Traditional protocol of property is basically, it is a similar term to what we have for auxiliary.
Right.
Property was never meant to be your actual property.
Right.
It was to let other MCs and other members know that this particular female has a club member.
Old man.
Yeah, who is responsible for her.
Yep.
And protects her. It was basic. They used the term property because, back in the day, that counterculture and trying to be away from everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So traditional protocol, you just saw a property patch and, don't fuck with her or there's consequences.
Most certainly.
Now, traditional protocol has gone the way of the dinosaur for a lot of clubs, even old clubs. And property has kind of gotten a bad connotation because of the way it's used in some MCs now.
Right.
So when we say that our Ox members aren't property, it's in relation to the more widely accepted term of property now,
yes.
And not the traditional protocol that property was.
Absolutely. And they have a working they are a working, thinking, contributing entity into our organization.
Yeah, they have their own national officers.
Yep.
They have their own mission and goal, which is their scholarship fund.
Yep.
That provides scholarships to family members, to members, and and they're integral to our success as a chapter.
Especially our chapter.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Like our Ox is the backbone of not only our social life as a chapter, but also our run, keeping all of us straight because we're dense as fuck sometimes, and like Duke was saying earlier, being a vital complement to who we are to help us maximize what we do, and
it's so important that spouses buy in to this is helping me.
Which, when we had Chrissy and Brandy on last year, it was something that you could tell. You know what I mean? Like, if we have some members whose spouses do not participate in the riding and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
but we'll use Sarge as an example. His wife Carrie, riding's your thing. That's not my thing.
Yep.
But she doesn't make his life difficult because he's out riding.
Right.
So she's supportive in a different way, but she's just as equally supportive.
Most certainly.
And she's been, part of our get-togethers and things like that. It's not like she's completely standoffish.
Yep.
Plus, Sarge rides an adventure bike. I assume that with all the stuff he has on there, it probably wouldn't be that comfortable for a spouse on the back anyhow. But
well, not according to the motherfucker down at Valley that tried to sell me one.
Who knew Sarge because he comes in there all the time.
Yeah, all the time.
Which, Sarge fucking hates Harley Davidson.
Right. So I quickly squashed that bullshit
But I mean,
on both.
I really think we're going to get him into a Pan American. Fucking idiots! Don't you give me your. But no, so our Ox members are integral to our organization.
Yep.
They are super important to our chapter specifically. And we would not even be remotely as successful as we are without them.
And they, you know, guys get together, you know, we need minimal shit. We need a fucking something to captivate some interest on a TV somewhere, and then something to refresh us while we watch said thing on TV. And that's pretty much what men need. The women of the group, our hostess with the mostest, which Brandy wears that crown with pride. They take our get-togethers to the next level.
Yep.
They, we do things in our chapter that we do a Halloween party every year, which is, it is from the first year we did it with a handful of people there to now, hell, we're quickly approaching having to get a venue for our Halloween party, and the costumes are great.
Yep. That's all Becky and Bobby.
Yeah, that's 100% them. We do the 4th of July at the Duke's place
because nobody America's like the Duke brothers.
No one America's like the Duke boys down here, and and it's just I started St. Patty's Day here because there was a holiday that we didn't get together, so it made sense.
We have Friendsgiving.
We have Friendsgiving, and it's usually themed, and we dressed as your spouse one year. We dressed in colors one year. So, and that's all the auxiliary driving that stuff. That's,
we've done bowling events.
Yeah.
We did the Goodwill date night.
Yep. Go into Goodwill and, you have to buy your significant other something for $10. Everything they wear has to be under $10 or $20 or whatever the hell it was. Man, and then you have to go eat and whatever, I don't know why we haven't done that again. Axe throwing, we've done
went to the movies out in Minnesota.
The only requirement to be part of that is just show up.
Yeah.
At the Halloween party, throw a mask on, come down, bring a bottle of Jack Daniels, hit your head on the goddamn garage door on the way out, and fucking, and
I could have killed that motherfucker that night. Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean
we have been accused of having a cool kids club.
Right.
And we try to tell everybody there's only one requirement to be in the cool kids club.
Show the fuck
and that's
up.
show up.
Show up. I mean, it's everything in our chapter we post on our private page.
Yep.
The times, the dates, the 5 W's, and you just have to have a willingness. Oh, I don't want to come out there and look stupid. Well, guess what? Everyone else there it's going to look stupid. You know what I mean? Like that's the whole part. If you can't laugh at yourself, and it goes back to our dark humor, you know what I mean? I'm notorious for wearing whatever the fuck I feel, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
On a random Saturday, not just Halloween, right? I wear whatever I feel comfortable in.
Like your Daisy Dukes.
My Daisy Duke shorts. I wear, I wear Ranger panties more than I should, more than a 350-pound man should ever wear. But yeah, it's I don't know. It's one of those things where if you can't laugh at yourself, and I think we all, for the most part, have, we're not vain enough to think we're better than anyone in our group. And we all we all can laugh at ourselves, and that's when other veterans come in our group, they're like, "Holy shit, man, you guys have a good time." And that's what you try to relay to the new people that always come, like, come on, man, like, there ain't no awkwardness with us. Like, if you're here with us, you're here, and
Get in where you fit in.
right, and um, yeah. So I mean, we embrace weird, thankfully, because I'm super weird, and yeah,
When Duke said it numerous times, because he used to be part of a different chapter, and it's a larger chapter, so it doesn't have the tight knit feel that ours does. And he said, every time we get together, my fucking sides hurt from laughing.
yeah, and the problem, well, I mean, it's one of those things where everyone, I mean, you have heard everyone's best story every time you see them, right? So, I mean, it's you know, but the thing is, the stories are from those trips that we go on,
Yep.
and there's some trips that you didn't go on, and now you're motherfucking people because you're like, oh, like I still feel Boise in 2019 was my first opportunity to go on a national ride. And I was like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I'm still riding by myself to make sure I'm not going to be a detriment because, a doctor tells you shouldn't ride a motorcycle. You should absolutely listen to the fucking doctor. Um, so, I'm like, man. But I told myself, I'm like, I won't go on this one. I'm definitely going on next one. And then you come back and you hear all the stories from them guys going out to Boise, and you're like, motherfucker. It still eats at me. And that's when I'm like, I'm not missing another fucking deployment. I'm not missing another nationals. I'm not missing a regionals. I'm not missing any of them. And hell, one year me and Chrissy went to regionals by ourselves. So um, I mean, but that was before this group, the new nucleus, and that is a different fun dynamic. That when I came in to this chapter, the nucleus, the Cool Kids Club was completely different set of people, and and they have and it is morphed into what it is now. Um, and that's the great thing about it. We got a lot of new, but we still you know the original guys that did it before that laid the groundwork of this chapter before we got here. We still do things as they did it.
Yeah.
Because you can't have traditions if you're not doing the same thing every year. You can't have, excuse me, it does no good for these guys to network and pass when I became the commander, it was an open book test because Bobby handed me the book and said, here, here's who you talk to here, and I'm like, all right. And, I felt, a lot of people gave me credit, and I felt like, um, well, hell, most of the time I'm just a figurehead. Like, all this stuff it's already set up, and it's already, all I'm doing
Not
is
fucking it
carrying,
up.
not fucking it up,
Yeah.
And I told all out when I became commander, like, listen, I will bail water with a thimble before this ship sinks on my watch. And and he references that back to me all the time. And then I tell Andy the same shit. Like, um I will set shit up, I will tear shit down, and I will be there from the time I set it up to the time I tear it down. That is my um my commitment to you in this chapter. Because if I'm gonna get rid of Nova for the day, so I can go down to wherever and sit, I'm there. Um, and but yeah, I mean it's. But I will caveat all that with saying I do that because I get something
Out
from
of
it.
it. Yes.
You know what I mean? That's what I need. This vets helping vets thing. Um, the most important vet I helped since being in this organization since 2018 was me.
Yep.
That's the number one vet. It's the number one vet I continue to help.
But
You know,
and the way this organization is built, as this organization, as the Combat Vets Motorcycle Association, as we help ourselves and this organization helps us, it enables us to reach new heights
yeah,
with our mission.
most certainly.
Look at how far we've came from when Bobby and All Out were like, fuck it, let's start a chapter,
Yep.
to we just got recognized for co-sponsoring Flight 129.
Yep.
Or Mission 129. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like every year we have gone bigger and better than we have the year before, but it's because all of us are in such a better place than we were the year before.
Yeah.
Every year we're getting better mentally, together, everything, and all of that builds to us being able to produce, for us, the product that we produce is money to our charities.
Yeah.
And every year we've been able to be better ourselves and in turn be able to produce a better product, i.e., we give more and more money every year.
In 2017, our organization had one charity. It was the Honor Flight Network. We were able to give the Honor Flight Network in 2017 $5,010. And that was great. In 2017, brand new chapter, it was great. And what those guys had to do back then, like when you're a detachment from a established chapter, you got to do all the shit the chapter wants you to do: sell their tickets, do their events, do all their fundraising, and then you also have to do everything you want to do as a detachment. So it's
because you are a chapter member first,
right,
and a detachment member second,
right,
because you're in the process of building up your detachment, but you can't just walk away from said chapter.
right. So much respect, and knowing that, and knowing how hard it is to fundraise now, and to know, well, shit, they did that and they did the other stuff. Man, much respect. And so when we say that first year we did $5,010, we're not shitting on that $5,010.
God, no.
When we say last year we gave our fourth charity $5,000, that is the arc of. That's why we can look back to Left Hook and All Out and salute those boys and say, you built the foundation. We stood on your shoulders, brothers, to get to where we are.
This whole national CVMA is built on the shoulders of the original 45.
Yep.
But 12-6 in particular is built on the shoulders of Bobby and All Out, and Nat, and all they
Dwayne,
wear a scroll that says chapter original.
Yep.
And that's because they were the first boots on the ground that built this chapter from nothing to a detachment to a chapter to raising $5,000 the first year, and laying the foundation, like you said, when Bobby can hand over, and you're like, this is what I'm doing.
Yep.
And then you can take everything that you got from Bobby everything that you learned and did for your 4 years as commander
Yep.
and pass that on to Duke. And now Duke's going to be able to hopefully take all of that, build upon it, serve 4 years as commander, and whoever the next commander is, he can hand over essentially 12 years of commander knowledge and effort and all of that to be able to hand the next guy is your job, make it better.
Yeah.
But don't fuck it up.
Yep. And yeah, I mean it's
because our particular chapter is only 8 years old.
and here, think about it like this. Yeah, only 8 years old. It takes, you're required to have 15 full members. That's combat veterans. You need 15 full members. Now, you can have 15 auxiliary members, and there are restrictions on how many support members you have based on the amount of full members you have.
Because while we embrace support members, they are veterans, they are brothers. This is called the Combat Veterans Motorcycle
Yep.
Association, and the overwhelmingly large majority of the membership needs to be combat veterans.
And should be.
Yes.
Yes.
And it's not that, again, we're not saying that we're better than non, but that's the mission this thing was
Right.
built on. And it would be hypocritical to go back on what they originally
Right.
wanted this to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
We can't talk about how we love tradition and then shit on said tradition.
right. But just we'll just talk as we always do in our terms as we live it. In 2017, well, in 2016, it took 15 full members to start this chapter. So once they got 15 full members in that detachment, you know, they petitioned the national body to become a chapter. They become the sixth chapter in this state with 15 full members. We have 26 full members 8 years later. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And we've done it. And what I'm trying to say is it's not the quantity of members, it's the quality of people you get in. And, I would talk with the other commanders throughout the state of Ohio, and I said, I would put my starting 11 against your starting 11 any day of the week. I will put our fundraising up against your fundraising any day of the week. And that goes for the communities that we are in. That speaks a lot about the communities we are in. And it says a lot about the people inside those communities doing the right things in their lives. Before they were a member of the Combat Vets Motorcycle Association, they were a member of that said community, and they did the right things in the community. We have people, when Bobby was the commander, we call Bobby the mayor of Cambridge because he knows everyone.
Everyone.
He shakes hands and kisses babies.
And when we say everyone, we are not exaggerating.
No. And, again, I've said it many times on this, like he was the prototypical commander. And I'm like, when I did my little self-assessment about, contemplating if I wanted to be the commander, I'm like, I'm not Bobby Cooley. And I think you need a lot of what Bobby Cooley is to be a successful commander. He is a people person. I am a person, right? Yeah. I'm pretty good talking one-on-one, and I'm pretty good talking to anyone who's willing to listen to me. And recently found out that's not too many people. Everybody thinks I talk too much.
I mean, you do.
Cool. But yeah, but I knew that, I knew Bobby's his strong suits as a commander is not mine. And some of my strong suits might not be his, but yeah, I mean, but we were equally both successful as commanders. So
you took what Bobby built
yep,
and you added you to it and was able to make it better. Because that's the goal, make it better,
yeah, yeah,
not fuck it up.
right,
And Andy is nothing like you and Bobby, but he's going to take what Bobby built that gave to you, that
yep,
you built, you're giving to him, and he's going to use
and make it better.
him
Yep,
to make it better.
most certainly.
And there's no doubt in my mind that after his stint as commander, the chapter is going to be better as a whole
Yep,
because one, that's the type of dude he is, but two, he had a good foundation because you had a good foundation.
yep. And the two former commanders or of the ilk that we're like, I'm not vain enough to be like, man, fuck that dude. There ain't but one top dog around here. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
no. You know what I mean? And you know, when Bobby used to give me my flowers and be like, hey bro, like look what you have done. And I'm like, bullshit. Like, look what you know, and that's why it was so nice to take Bobby to the honor flight luncheon last week and sit down and allow him to take in some of that because like it was his direction of honor flight was his baby, right? Like that was his brainchild of, hey, this is what we should do. This should be our charity.
You know, Bobby was the driving force behind that being our primary charity.
It most certainly was, and it still would be like if COVID didn't hit in 2020, we might still only have one charity. Who knows? But when COVID hit in 2020, I I thought it was in poor taste, um, uncouth. I like using that word lately, but I thought it was in poor taste to give money to a charity that were not flying flights and with COVID hit and people out of work and like you're going to a community where half of the community is out of work and you're like, hey, listen, I know you love your freedom, even though they're being taken right now. So give to us, like, no. You know what I mean? And let's not do that. Let's not do a run this year and ask our community that has helped us so much, that community I just talked about that we're in all the time and then does so much to help us. We're going to then turn around and be like, hey, disregard what's going on in the world right now. We still need our numbers up. No. But the community was like, fuck that. Yes, you can have it at a veteran organization. You can have it in my backyard. Come to my backyard. There ain't no restrictions here. You're like, you're willing to do that? Yeah, I'm willing to do that. And then so our donation of $5,000 in 2020 was direct responsible of our community saying, fuck that. You guys got a mission and we're going to help you help other veterans. And I'm like, well, goddamn. But by saying that, yeah, like we were going to give to the Honor Flight Network, and that money was going to sit because there was no flights going out. So why can't we use some of that money and help veterans in need? So we gave to Veterans Outreach. They do pantries and hey, you need a little money for repairs on your car or whatever. So we give the Veterans Outreach, or we gave the Disabled Veterans Outdoors, where you don't have to be disabled from a conflict. You just have to be a veteran who is disabled, no matter how you got there. And they'll take you out in the woods and take you on a hunt,
Take you on a boat.
free of charge, get you out on a boat on waters that you might not find yourself, right? On boats that might be out of your price range or whatever. And you get out with other disabled veterans. You get with like-minded individuals, not exact-minded, but like-minded. They know, unlike anyone else knows, what it is to be a veteran, what it is to be disabled. So who else can you talk to and they get you more than someone who's going through the exact same things you are? And you get to do it over leisure. You get to hunt, you get to fish, right? You get to do things that you normally love to do anyways, but you think, oh, I can't shoot because I'm disabled, or I can't cast a line, I'm disabled. That's why they have guides on that boat. They can throw that pole out for you. They can assist you on reeling that thing in. They can do they can get you out of a wheelchair into a boat. They can get you out of a wheelchair into a tree stand. That's what they're there for. So we were like, all right, we're going to give to these organizations, and that money will help veterans right now. And that was important. And then moving forward, when COVID, well, I guess it's still around, but when COVID, wasn't the epidemic that it became, we decided to keep those other charities. And then we added, Veterans Outreach. We exchanged Veterans Outreach with Southeastern Guide Dogs because, again, some of our members are members of other 501c3s out there that do things that help veterans. So, Left Hook was like, hey, I'm up here with the Ohio Cigar Mafia, a former sponsor of this show, and we're going to do a football pool for the Super Bowl, and money from that is going to go to Honor Flight and Southeastern Guide Dogs. Everybody good with that? We took a vote. Yep, we'll do that. And then we said, well, whatever you give to Southeastern Guide Dogs, we'll match. And then that's how that started. Then we started going to events with the Ohio Cigar Mafia, and then we're selling tickets. They're allowing us to make money for our charities. We're helping them with their charities. So it's that's not a vets helping vets thing directly, because the Ohio Cigar Mafia, that has a lot of vets in it, me being one of them. But their organization only has one charity, Dogs Inc. And
Southeastern Guide Dogs is now known as Dogs Inc.
Dogs
for
Inc.
anybody
Yes.
that's
So yeah, so we're still helping veterans, be it indirectly. So and now again, we empowered our auxiliary to go out, and now there's many chapters out there that have auxiliary chapters in it, which I think is a great institution, and they give to the auxiliary scholarship fund, and which gives members' children an opportunity to apply and get funding for college, which is a great thing. And one of the things that I felt that we needed to do was a way that we could say thank you, a way that we can make the auxiliary think their contributions mean something to us, or worthwhile to us,
Yeah.
or it ain't enough
to show our auxiliary the appreciation for everything they do for us.
It ain't enough to stand up in a meeting and say thank you, ladies, or you have to put tangible results behind that. So I came up with a policy that 10% of everything we bring in a year will go to the scholarship fund. Last year, that was over $5,000,
$5,500.
So, that's what I'm saying. That's how far in 8 years we have come, where our fourth charity is getting $500 or $490 more than that one charity. And that ain't shitting on those guys.
No.
That is saying, look what you did.
That's walking before we could run.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is And
what we're trying to portray is that our chapter has grown and succeeded so much
Yep.
that without that $5,000 foundation for
Yep.
that very first one, we couldn't have given $55,000 away last year.
Yep.
Like, that's insane.
Yep.
So
And
I'm going to throw our back patch up here in post editing, or unless we want to grab my vest over there so we can show people what it looks like.
Yep.
But this organization is amazing.
Yep.
It has given us so much in our personal lives. It has done so much for our mental health, and the least we could do, ride in the rain and help a veteran. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's when I first met you up in Cleveland, you had joined, there was some email traffic back and forth between me and you. And you had joined and you're like, hey, listen, I'm not a crowd people or person. I'm not a,
Yeah.
And I'm like, I get it. Welcome to the family. We're all like that. And then, I met you up in Cleveland.
Yep. 12/7
at 12/7's run. And
September of 21.
And it's been history ever since. You know what I mean?
This podcast wouldn't exist if I wouldn't have joined this organization.
Most certainly. And that is you understanding your limitation. And this is what I'm trying to get other people to figure out. Like, you were like, listen, I'm going to be limited in this role as a member. And then you have never limited yourself. And you know what I mean? Like, because you found reasons, not an excuse. That might be trademarked somewhere, but
well, I was thinking about that yesterday when I was riding. We do good. We really do. We do really good. A lot of good in the veteran community. We do good.
Like this turned into Dr. Seuss real quick. We do good. We do good.
Not like like the good that we do in the community. And that is great. But the benefits that I have gotten personally from joining this organization, I have a close group of 3 guys that every day, even if we're not talking on the phone, we're sending shit back and forth in a text message. I have formed a relationship with you that has grown so much that every week we get together and talk for a couple hours in front of a camera.
Yep.
Sarge and I play COD almost every night. And when I first joined, it was just me, you, and him that went to most of the rides.
Yep.
He barely said anything. But after that first year of putting so many miles in with you guys, now, if people heard the way and how he talks, they'd think it was somebody else because we have that bond now, And then, everything that we've been able to do with Andy and the fact that he could stand here and tell me earlier how bad I fucked up, you guys are so important to my life now. The 3 of you.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have got that without this organization. Yesterday, I hit 50,000 miles on that bike. There was 19,000 on it when I bought it. In 33 months, I put 31,000 miles on that bike.
Yep.
Astronomical. I said last year that I thought 10 was going to be like the. So I can't quantify the appreciation and the love that I have for this organization and what it's been able to give me and to let me build and grow and form as far as relationships and friendships and brotherhood, mental health, the list of benefits that I have gotten from being in the CVMA is unquantifiable.
Right.
So the least I could do is ride in the rain, ride when it's hot, ride to places I may not want to go, do things I may not want to do, because this organization has given me so much. I'll never be able to repay the CVMA for everything that is given to me in the last 3 years. I'll never be able to do it.
And I think where I wholeheartedly agree, I want to preference by saying I don't think everybody's experience in the CVMA. I think the CVMA, this patch, was the catalyst, right?
Yeah.
This patch right here don't make Duke who he is.
Right.
Right. Without this vest on, he's still, you know what I mean? I'm still right.
This is like a it amplifies who you are as a person to the outside world.
And this, right, and I've said this many times. This patch actually, for me, contradicts who I this patch projects a person I don't identify as, right? Like we've talked about that before. So, but I proudly wear it.
You're not the combat guy you used to be. You're not the guy that earned you this patch isn't who you are anymore.
Right.
Is what you're trying to say.
Well, and I'm not, like we said, I don't walk through VAs with my veteran hat on or things of that nature. I just, but that's a me thing.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with anybody else. That's 100% me. But I this organization is a catalyst. It's the umbrella. It's the building that all these relationships are allowed to blossom, right? It's the greenhouse, if you will. You know, I think if the CVMA was to say, you know what, we have to shut all this down, would we all still ride tomorrow? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So, however, again, it's like those guys that get in that boat. We know, you know, all our experiences are different, but they're the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We know without even saying things to each other. We know when each other gets quiet. We either need to give a little space or we need to give a little more attention. Duke says all the time, when I get quiet, I'm out riding. And he's right.
The belt.
Yeah. And you know, things like the belt, you know, like there's only, you know, a handful of members who would even give a fuck about that belt. You know what I mean? That it would even matter to. Everybody else is like, I mean, I'm not riding that many miles, so you know, I'm not riding that many miles. So, and it's not a matter of, you know, like Dwayne said the other night that I put my bike on a dyno and just let it run. I'm like, no, motherfucker. I ride these, like, riding helps me so much. And again, if it don't do it for you, I don't know what to tell you. When Callahan, again, he'll listen to this episode every goddamn Sunday, he'll text me while he's listening. He'll stop, tell your Air Force buddy he's an asshole. He's fucking wrong, and like, we didn't do that in the Army. He had no shit. Like, and he'll break. I'm telling you, the text message, he'll break it down. Hey, you guys are spot on, and yeah, I mean, and he asked me all the time, hey, like, besides a motorcycle, what can I do? I'm like, you have to find your thing.
Yep.
You have to find your wheels. Wheels is a metaphor for leisure. whatever that leisure thing is. We talk about motorcycles all the time because that's what we know. You know
That's
what I
what we
mean?
love,
That,
and
that's
that's what helps us.
that's what
That's our medicine that ails us.
and yeah, most certainly. And whenever I have a bad day, that makes it better.
Yep.
That's the one thing I can turn to that makes things better. 100%. It never lets me down from not making me feel better. So you got to find your thing. And if you have a 500cc motorcycle in your garage and you're a combat veteran, you know, and you want to know more about this, combatvets.us and read up on it. Everything you want to know is right there. Read up. If it interests you enough that you want to know some more, fill out the who, hey, this is me and this is what I'm, wanting to get into. And, whatever state you're in, that state rep will reach out to you and lay everything out. And then if you think this is something you want to do, great, do it. If not, great. It doesn't matter if you're a CVMA member or not. If you see us out riding, come ride with us.
Yeah.
Another difference that the way we're different than MCs, you know what I mean? We're not fucking, we don't care if, fuck, man, just come out and ride because we understand wind therapy is the same for everybody. So yeah, come out and ride. But if my only recruiting ploy is if this shit ain't in your heart, if you think why the fuck do we have to fundraise all the time? I've heard that from members. Why we got to fundraise all the time? Why we have to fucking ride motorcycles all the time? Why do we have to fucking like if it ain't in your heart, don't put this patch on your back.
Yeah. So the M in CVMA stands for motorcycles.
Yep.
So that's why you have to ride motorcycles. And the Vets Helping Vets, we are a 501c3.
Yeah.
We have to fundraise to be able to do the mission that we do.
Yeah.
I mean, they're kind of like basic concepts of the organization.
And then, I mean, we've had many members in the CVMA that went out and joined MCs, and hey, Godspeed.
Yeah.
And when I see those guys, it's still love. You know what I mean? Until it ain't. And when it ain't, it ain't. I mean, but it's still love. But if now, don't get us wrong, we like the party. I mean, we can probably drink with the best of them.
Have party will travel.
I mean, but our fun is not dictated by the amount of alcohol we consume. The amount of alcohol we consume is dictated by the fun we are fucking having.
Yeah.
And that's the difference.
I don't even consume alcohol.
Right.
And I still have a shit ton of fun because our fun is actually the miles. It's not where we're going to end up.
Right.
It's the point A to point B.
Yeah.
The space in between.
Yeah. And it's
it's like when people say that your life is the dash in between your birth date and your death date.
Right.
So for us, the fun is the dash in between this address and this address.
Yep. And so yeah, we're not. Again, we've had members in here be like, "Hey, we should go to this bar," and I mean, it's not what we're about. So, and again, the things that we're talking about is based on our chapter. I've never been in another chapter, so I don't know. I know when other people from other chapters come to our chapter, it'd be like, "Fuck, man, you guys have some fun." Like, yeah, like.
We like to. I tell my wife all the time, it's not bragging if it's right.
Right.
And we like to point out to other individuals that a member of our state board likes to tell everybody that we're the best chapter in the state. And so again, not bragging if it's right.
Right.
And in our opinion, and obviously the opinions of others, we are the best chapter in the state. But a lot of that is because of the tightness of our group.
Do you hear that on the?
I don't know.
Sorry.
Mine's been doing it too. So yeah.
That's that Buffalo Wild Wings trying to speak to me again. But yeah, man. And the thing again, I love the CVMA for, again, um, I would contribute it. If you're in a fraternity in college, do you love the alma mater more than you love your fraternity? You know what I mean? Type thing. Of like, um, the CVMA is a fraternity of brothers, and like I said, we get opportunities to go out and do great things um, as representatives of the CVMA. But that all that stuff is like we. It's hard to explain. Like to me, it was always chapter first. As long as our little footprint is not our little rock in Southeast Ohio is not causing ripples in the rest of Ohio, we're good. And I don't, I didn't pay a lot of attention to what the national body was doing. Granted, new rules came out, new bylaws came out. Yes, you have to abide by those. I get that, but it wasn't that. Oh, we're going to do this, so this person up here will be like, oh my God, he's no, we're going to do what we do. And if people think it's cool, great. If people,
If they don't think it's cool, great too.
yeah. As long as we're not breaking bylaws and we're not doing immoral shit that we're on the national sergeant at arms radar, then we're good. So it's kind of, I don't know if that's I don't know if the college fraternity analogy is good, but that's how I think it is. Like we're all part of this university and we're all have our own fraternities.
Yeah. So you said it backwards earlier, so I'll clarify. The national is the Ohio State University.
Yes.
Our chapter is the Delta 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 Delta
Right.
fraternity.
Lambda.
Yeah, there you go. Lambda Lambda. Revenge of the Nerds.
But yeah, it's which do you hail being an alumni of Ohio State over being a fraternity brother of the Mega Moose?
No.
Right.
Your fraternity is it's small unit dynamics.
Yes. That's
you're proud to be third ID.
most certainly.
But you're even more proud to be Alpha Company
Right,
or whatever,
right, yes. Yeah, and that's what I'm getting at. But being in the CVMA, you have to be in a CVMA to get into those fraternities.
Yep.
I mean, if you're not at Ohio State, the Mega Moves don't want you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Combat Vets Motorcycle Association.
there's one in your state.
Yep. Guarantee it. At least one.
Yeah, there's one in your state. And
if you see us out riding, say hi, throw us a deuces.
Yep.
Whatever. I ride the sidecar. I'm the only sidecar in the chapter. The looks and the stares and the smiles that Jay and I get when we're out riding around, it's awesome.
And you can go to CVMA126.com and you can register to win our custom motorcycle
2009
that we're giving away August 17th
at our event
in Cambridge. So if you're in Southeastern Ohio and you stumbled upon this podcast and never heard of us, that's who we are. That's what we're doing.
If you're not in Southeastern Ohio, but you still want a chance to win that gorgeous motorcycle, go to the website. You can buy your tickets online.
You can buy your tickets online, and depending on what part of the country it is, if it's worth driving to, we'll come. We'll come. I mean, if you're in fucking Siberia, we're not coming.
Yeah, probably not.
Because Siberia, you have to go to Canada to get to Siberia, and I don't want to do that again. So yeah, CVMA, great institution. And we'll now move into this week's installment of Fuck That Guy.
Fuck that guy. So we hammer the officers pretty fucking hard here.
We do.
But they're not the only ones that are fucking idiots. And today's Fuck That Guy
Yep.
it's from 2022.
Uh-huh.
A young reservist 22-year-old airman who was busted by the Oklahoma Predator Prevention. They're an organization that utilizes online
Yep.
chat rooms to publicly shame people.
Right.
This particular 22-year-old airman from Tinker Air Force Base, he's a reservist,
Mhm.
was sending some pretty heinous messages back and forth to what he thought was a 15-year-old girl.
Yep.
He went to a McDonald's to meet him in his uniform. Way to go, buddy. And the
Chicks dig uniforms.
the Oklahoma Predator Prevention guys were there, whipped out the old camera, started recording, and basically just hammered his fucking dick to the wall.
Yeah. So much so
that he called his first sergeant.
Yeah.
She was very caught off guard. He was eventually charged. 2023, he was handed his sentence in May. He was given 10 years suspended sentence and ordered to register as a sex offender. I couldn't get any information on what the Air Force did to him. I assume he got kicked out. But
because he's not a general, so
yeah, true statements. Yeah, he was actually found guilty of sexual assault. In Oklahoma, you just have to meet certain criterias, even if there wasn't an actual 15-year-old victim.
Right.
But yeah, there are dickwads in the enlisted ranks as well.
And we do an episode on.
Oh, by the way, his name Jason Bardett, Bardett.
Bardett, yeah.
So if you haven't seen that guy around Oklahoma, fuck that guy.
Yeah, and we do the episode of incarcerated veterans, and you give out the statistics. Goddamn, my face quit working. Statistics about like we're not actively searching pedophiles to say fuck that guy. Pedophiles are just fucking dropping out of the woodwork left and right because
we flip open the internet like you flip on a light, and the fucking cockroaches are scurrying.
Jesus Christ. And you're like, why is it always got to be Air Force? I will ask it back to you. Why is it always, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's unfortunately it's been all the major branches.
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
every time we turn around,
right.
For a while there, it was nothing but officers.
Yeah.
And I, more than anybody, has really fucking hammered the officer corps
right
as of late. But here's a prime example of a 22-year-old who's a young airman, reservist, doing some fucked up shit. And this is one of those moments where I'm glad the UCMJ can hammer his stupid ass to the wall because he deserved it. I say a lot that young airmen or young enlisted guys should been given a little bit of leeway because they're young, they're stupid, they don't know no better sometimes. But I'm talking about in regards to things that aren't fucking with a 15-year-old girl.
Yeah.
Like you that doesn't require you to have any level of intelligence other than the math ain't mathin'.
That's it.
So yeah, he deserved to get his ass hammered to the wall.
I had a soldier one time, he was like, hey, I'm going to Michigan with other soldier. So I'm putting a pass in. I'm going with him. I'm like, all right. Like, what you guys doing? I'm going to go meet his girlfriend's sister. Yeah. And then I'm like, okay, hold on. Like, the fuck are we doing? And bring both of them in. Come to find out that Soldier A he's they're both 18, fucking 18 years old, 19-year-old. He's dating a girl that's 17, about to turn 18, but they've been dating all through high school or whatever. And she's just a young, as I was. So I understand that because I dated above my age my whole fucking life. So and then come to find out it was her younger sister. I'm like, now we're getting into gray areas here. Well, it ain't even fucking gray area. If you're of age and she's not of age, it's not gray.
Yeah.
Like,
Because the UCMJ doesn't care what the statute is for the country or the state that you're in
right.
of age of consent. According to the the Uniform Code of Military Justice, 18 is the age of
Yeah.
consent.
Right. So,
Because I had that problem with a lot of guys in Germany, because teenagers can go into bars in Germany. So guys would be in a bar, meet a girl,
yeah.
hook up, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah, and then find out she's like 15.
Yeah.
And they're like, but she was in a bar. And so I told my guys, and usually they would get caught because they were bringing them on base to go to the dorm
Right.
and, check an ID and what the fuck. So I used to tell my guys, you card her before you leave the club because you don't know what you're getting into over there, because it's not like in the States where there's a level of expectation for age in a
Right.
particular establishment.
Right. So, I mean, yeah. But, there's a difference between, hey, I'm gonna go home and because girlfriend's sister won't leave sister alone, so I'm gonna take a friend home to occupy her so I can go get some ass or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, he's not gonna fuck her. He's just gonna fucking. I'm like, whatever. Whatever. Does he have a dick?
You know why we know 18-year-old guys? Because we used to be an
Like,
18-year-old
does he have
guy.
a dick?
Yeah.
Like, come on, get the fuck out of
But
here.
there's a difference between, a young 18, 19-year-old enlisted guy hooking up with a girl that he meets out on the town or whatever, and then finding out later that she wasn't of age,
Yeah.
versus a predator
Yes.
who is intentionally
She's
trying
like,
to
how old are you? I'm 13. Oh yeah, I'll do these. Like, come on.
There
Like,
is a difference.
there is a difference.
And sometimes in the eye of the law there isn't, but morally there is a
Yeah,
difference.
there is a difference. And then you as the adult, like me being the supervisor, then saying, listen, you're not going on fucking leave. Or you're not going on pass. You know what I mean? To go do this.
I'm trying to help you not fuck up your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, even the pedos have infiltrated all the ranks.
Yeah. And if you're one of those who think that P should be now part of the LGBTQ fucking because of fucking what's that shit called?
Minor attracted person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Eat a total bag of dicks.
And anyone who's a member of NAMBLA can do that as well.
Yeah. Just
what is it? The North American Man Boy Love Association.
fucking
Fuck you guys.
yeah. Eat a bag of dicks of someone who's not a juvenile.
There
like
you go.
grown man dicks.
Yeah.
Bald hair and all.
Old grown man dicks. Old ones.
Just
Smelling like Fromunda cheese.
yeah. Like, yeah. Man, fuck you all.
Fuck them. Fuck them all.
All right. Till next time.